crews are trying to assess what will be a painstaking effort to clear the wreckage of the fallen Francis Scott Key Bridge and retrieve the bodies of 4 workers killed in that collapse. So how will this process go? Joining us right now to talk about it, the Director of Operations at Sal Ocean LLC, a marine survey and salvage company, Captain Mark Martin. Captain, good to see you. I mean, this is a colossal task, right? I mean, when you see something like this, the debris field, I mean, it looks very overwhelming to figure out how to clean up what is 4,000 tons of debris, twisted steel, murky cold water. There are other dangers that we can't see. So what is the approach to this cleanup effort?
Well, safety is going to be in the forefront of everyone's mind. I would expect that they will come in, the barge and crane, at least one of them are on site already. I would expect that they would come in and clear out the channel first, which means they're going to have to cut all those pieces up into the size that the crane can manage, load onto a barge, and then take them to wherever they're going to dispose of them.
And let's stop there, because that's the hardest part, right? I mean, when you talk about cutting up portions of the bridge, we've got the murky water, you've got divers who have been in the water to try to assess and all at the same time locate the bodies. Things move with that kind of water and the current. So let's talk about the cutting up of the pieces before that big, large crane that's in place can do anything, you know, lifting any of those pieces. How will that happen? How are these big pieces cut up into smaller pieces to move?
They're gonna send workers. Obviously, the parts that are submerged will be done by divers, but on the parts that are exposed, they'll have pardon me, they'll have steel workers that are in the proper safety harnesses up there, and they'll be using torches or plasma cutters or whatever to cut the beams into sizes that the crane can lift and then place on a barge.
And Tuesday and Wednesday, when divers first laid their eyes on things, and they couldn't stay for long because the conditions, you know, were so treacherous. It was very cold. It was very dark. What they saw, anything that they may have seen in terms of the infrastructure, the way the vessel may have been touching the bottom, all of those things might have moved since then. So how do they assess what areas to tackle first based on the movement of the river, the conditions that continue to change?
Yeah, the current there is quite fast, and having spent a number of days submerged in Baltimore Harbor, I can tell you that you can never see more than 1 or 2 feet in front of your face. They are currently using small remotely operated vehicles that'll have sonar and cameras that are continually monitoring any movement in the ship. With the amount of weight on the bow of the ship, I think the only movement you're going to see there is it maybe the bow may be sinking deeper into the sand than it already is. Most of those pieces, the current isn't heavy enough to really shift those now. Smaller pieces, yes, but not the large pieces. Once those things start getting cut up, then you have to be careful. You're going to have to monitor the current, the direction, the speed, all of those things.
And then, Captain, what about the cargo?
The divers. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry about that. So what about the cargo vessel, the cargo on the vessel? I mean, you can see by every angle, you know, by looking at the way in which the bridge, portions of it fell on the vessel. There's cargo, some of it that, you know, fell overboard, but all of that cargo on top of the vessel, does that have to be moved piece by piece? And if so, how do they do that before you even try to take apart? I mean, these are puzzle pieces, but you're having to take them apart in order to even free up that channel. How do you suppose that's going to happen?
Right. Well, what I think will happen is they'll identify the cargo containers that are in the water, and they'll probably be some of the first items that are lifted. Then they're going to have to try and get you know, the portion of the bridge that's laying on the bow is going to that'll probably be the first part that's removed, because they can't move the ship until that's moved. I think what you'll see is when that is removed off the bow, the ship, depending on any hull damage, which there doesn't seem to be any, um, then they'll hook up tugs to the vessel and they'll bring it to a port, the port that it left from, more than likely. And they'll remove all those containers, and then they'll, obviously that ship will probably have to be dry docked and completely inspected. That's going to take some time. But actually, offloading it shouldn't take more than a day or two if they can get it alongside the dock with the cranes.
It's a colossal undertaking. Captain Mark Martin, thank you so much for helping us to understand what will be some of the phases of the cleanup and the recovery. Thank you.